Grab a beer and pull up a chair. Welcome to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. This is Mike, the Northwoods Beer Guy, and I'm once again joined by Jim.
Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
Doing well, Jim. I don't know. I got this crazy email and I don't know if this is true or not.
Whoa, crazy email.
Yeah, I got this email saying that Jim was voted the top co-host in all of podcasting, and I don't know if that's true or not.
I would believe it.
I'm sure the email address looked very suspiciously familiar.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was an actual contest for that, but if
I have a big following, buddy.
I think you do. I think you do because you did surprisingly well.
See, so you should see by the amount of people in the stadium stands right now listening to us, and down here in the bar. Look at them all. We can barely beat them off with a stick.
We can barely contain them. They can barely contain themselves.
That's right.
Nah, they're fine. Well, hey, Jim, we have another guest here.
Yes, we do.
Last year at this time, we had brought this gentleman in as well, and we figured...
Was that his first time ever on the...
No, he was with us when we went to Toppling Goliath and did the sours. Remember that when you loved sours back then?
Right. So that wasn't his first rodeo.
No, he's been on several. So we are once again joined by Toby. Hey, Toby.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Just for the record, I think I'm the only other person in the room.
Wow.
You can hear them back there. They're just scampering.
Yeah.
You can hear the footsteps?
I don't know for sure why Jim's got to be like that.
Oh, he has a big following.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Just check your email.
Yes, my email confirms it, I guess. So,
but the reason why I asked that question is because there's one thing that sticks in my mind whenever we have Toby on one of the podcasts.
Okay.
And he thought it'd be a good idea if big guys talked about bourbon.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you remember that, Toby?
I do remember that. Yeah, I still think it's a good idea.
So, and I think you also, Mike, had mentioned that BK had even thought about the idea of trying to taste a bourbon with a beer and see how they...
yes, he did. He said,
do they taste similar? How do they taste?
Yep. And, we've talked about that a number of times as well, man, because it's like, we don't know what this tastes like, so we don't know if the beer tastes like it or not. But yeah, I think Toby first brought it up, and then BK had said that sounded like a great idea.
Well, and I knew that you'd mentioned that you wanted to talk about all the beers of 2024, but I thought maybe to add a little spice into the broadcast, because we've never done this before. We've never had an actual bourbon on the podcast, right? We've had a lot of bourbon beers. I think you like to say it's in our wheelhouse. Yeah, we sometimes know what we're talking about with that.
Every once in a great while, yeah.
So I thought for the wrap-up, maybe we could get it started with a little surprise tasting for the listeners, and then we'll roll into talk about them and maybe some other beers. How does that sound?
That sounds like it's interesting, yeah.
I'm in.
Okay, well, you had to convince Toby really hard.
We really twisted his arm hard.
Yeah.
So what we have, and everybody knows that I think our favorite bourbon barrel beer is Bourbon County. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody.
Right.
So what I thought would be interesting is in 2023, Bourbon County had an Angel's Envy beer that was aged a year in Angel's Envy barrels and then a year in Ruby Port barrels. And I went and bought a bottle of the triple cask Angel's Envy.
Ah, okay. I thought he was going to say the Pappy one. Is what I was hoping for,
yeah.
But
once we start,
when he won that award, he would have got some kind of monetary thing, and we'd have had
exactly.
We probably each would have had our own bottle of Pappy, but
that's what I was expecting.
Yeah,
that's why I was so excited.
Yeah, that's why. Of course, I'll do that.
So when we get to our 100th listener, maybe we can get the bottle of Pappy.
You mean episode?
Oh, episode. Oopsies.
Yeah.
So,
boy, I tell you,
it's a rough crowd.
That award must have been.
So, Toby, do you have anything on the Angel's Envy, the one that we're going to try here first, the actual bourbon?
Yeah, so this Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey is aged at least 4 years in toasted char number 3 American white oak casks. And then the aged bourbon is filled across a selection of Hungarian, French, and Chickapin oak barrels, each imparting a distinctive finish and flavor profile. So I didn't know what a chickapin was either, but it's a native oak tree to the Midwest.
Wow.
It's got little different leaves, and it didn't know myself, so it was kind of interesting to learn that.
Educate as we entertain.
Look at Mike. You were
Who
learning.
thought bourbon could teach us so much?
Yeah. Well, it's made us dumber at times, but I didn't know that.
So then lastly, the craft of blending is left to their master distillers, bringing these three unique oak finished whiskeys together into one remarkable bottle that they call Triple Oak.
Wow.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Well, gentlemen,
So we're starting with the hard stuff, huh?
we're going to start with that, and they'll probably, our palate will be the best that it's been, but
So this is the smallest glass I've ever used for the tasting, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but we're okay at this juncture.
so here's a cheers to
Wow.
to a great 2024
Yeah,
and even better 2025.
Yeah, this is the kind of wrap up our second season, and we're in the third season now. So yeah,
There we go.
Here's to you.
Wow. That's smooth.
Yeah, very smooth. I was just recently talking with one of my coworkers, and they talked about bourbon and how, like, do you like bourbon? And he's like, well, I rate it by how much it burns on the way out and how far it goes. And,
I was just going to say it's got a little bit of a burn to it, but that's good.
That's good.
That's really good. So now we have an idea what the actual bourbon tastes like. And then, Toby, you want to read a little bit on the side of that box about the beer we're going to try?
Yeah, so this, again, this is Goose Island, Bourbon County, and they were inspired by the innovation of their friends down at Angel's Envy. So they embarked on a journey to craft a truly exceptional stout. And what they did is they used carefully aged, freshly emptied barrels that once held Angel's Envy Kentucky straight bourbon, allowing the unique layers of flavor to intertwine with the stout. But they didn't stop there. They then transferred the beer to a second use ruby port wine barrels, where it patiently matured for another year. And this secondary finishing process refined and amplified the flavors of cherry, spice, and cocoa within the aged stout.
Cacao.
So the Bourbon County brand is a 2-year cast finish stout, and it's a testament to their legacy.
So, Jim, like last week when we were talking about Dangerous Man,
right?
Remember, they were aged for, was it 8 months?
8 months.
And you could tell.
It just wasn't quite there.
The flavors hadn't developed, so this one aged for 2 years.
2 years and
Yeah, and we've had other ones that are up to 6 years, 5 years for sure.
Right.
And it's like, man, that's just crazy, So,
well, all the things. We've always had good luck with Bourbon County, and the way that they're talking sounds good. That very first shot of Angel's Envy tasted good.
I will say it smells like Goose Island.
Very much so.
Oh wow,
that's got a great aroma.
Very good aroma. You can almost smell. Is that the wine cask kind of aroma? Is that?
Well, now I'm smelling the
glass that we
had the bourbon in.
Oh, and just FYI, 15.5% ABV. So that's healthy.
Yeah, it's up there.
I'm going to predict that we're going to get a little bit more of that port flavor in this beer than we are the bourbon flavor.
I think you're right. It's extremely smooth.
Wow,
very smooth. I don't know if I really, like you said, Toby, I don't know if I really get the strong bourbon flavor. I do get a little bit more of that port, and I'm sure that's because that was aged. The second part of their aging process was in there.
So it probably wouldn't be a good idea to add some Angel's Envy into this?
Well, you could if you wanted to. Then it's going to bump that ABV up just a little bit.
That is smooth. I don't have a burn.
No, and I think one of the things that's unique about this one is, sometimes it's hard to distinguish the flavors, but you can really pick out the cherry, and you can pick out that oak type of finish and the cocoa in there. It's all there for sure, and very distinct and smooth.
Oh yeah,
this is like scary good, isn't it?
This is not disappoint.
Wow. I just wish we could put the aroma through the microphone.
Yeah, I do kind of wish that we could pick up a little bit more of the bourbon flavor in it. You know what I mean? But I think you nailed it because they aged it in that first and then moved it to the port. When I say I think the aroma at least, and in the taste, it's a little the port up front,
right?
But then you don't get any of that bourbon burn.
No.
So
wow, this is
dang it. We're gonna have to try and do that again because now we can't really tell for sure if we're tasting the same stuff.
And like you said, going back and forth from what we had in our shot glass.
You kind of smell a little bit, but not. Not that much.
For me, I just kind of get that oak finish.
Yeah,
the Angel's Envy definitely had that to it. Yeah. And there's just a little bit of it in here. not overwhelming. I'm curious. It says spice.
Right.
It says that on the packaging, and the research that we did. What kind of spice we think's in there, guys?
Good.
Yeah, a good kind.
Good spices, that kind.
That's just an interesting thing, Is that the secret ingredient that?
Yeah, that's a good
puts it over
question.
the top?
I don't know. That is pretty crazy.
I mean, I think it was good too. Not that there's ever a bad time to try beers like this, but if we would have tried it maybe later, I don't know if we would have got as many of the flavors to come through too.
Right.
Because hopefully we still be able to taste the other ones, but boy, this is really good. I mean,
yeah, that's
so. Toby, you're the guest. What are you thinking on the score?
Here we go, huh? Gosh.
Now, is he scoring the beer or the bourbon?
Well, if anybody says the bourbon's below a 5.0, they're going to get kicked off. So that's not even an option.
Wow.
So we'll just do the beer. How's that?
That actually, what he just said there, Toby, was very similar to the way that the email I got was worded. So I don't know. I'm thinking
Seeing
I'm
a
catching.
connection, maybe.
Yes, I'm thinking I know where that email came from.
See who the real fan is.
Exactly.
There's a different fan base.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So as I've learned, the rating I think sometimes is just really hard to do when you've got like right now in the moment. This is a good beer.
Yeah.
And if I was comparing it to my memory of other things. Of the bourbon counties, I'll be honest with you. For me, I was surprised that port wine kind of scared me. Like I kind of mentioned, I felt like that was going to be the dominant thing, and it's not. So,
putting you right on the spot, right out the gate.
And it's really good, and I think I always probably rate a little bit higher than you guys. I'm probably at like a 4.6 with it.
Nice. Well, that's a healthy score.
That's a healthy score.
Mike, you want to go next?
Yeah, again, they don't disappoint at all. I was going to go with 4.5.
Okay.
Like you said, I get more of the port wine. Not that that's a bad thing, but it has a little bit of a fruitiness, kind of a taste to it. And I'm not a big wine guy,
right? But
it has everything else. You know what I mean? I mean, it's super good. So yeah. So just to make Toby, telling the truth, where he scores it a little bit higher, I'm gonna go with 4.5.
Okay. All right.
Or else you might feel bad.
So I think what's interesting too, and I know I should have thought of this earlier, but letting it sit out for a few minutes, trying to get room temperature, I'm actually feeling a little bit of spice on my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
So I don't know. I can't nail down exactly what kind, but it's almost like a little tingling on your tongue as it warms up. So.
I got that from the bourbon. My tongue was tingling.
Well, that happens too.
I was like, wait a minute.
But I think we always talk about it, and I don't think we're trying to harp on it, but we always try to say if you put it on your label of your beer,
it's on the can, it should be
in the can. Yep. Because that's what the consumer is looking at, and that's how they're going to know, all right, should I try this beer or not? And I think from our experience, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but every time we try a Bourbon County, whatever they say is going to be in the bottle, you can taste it. And it may not, I think at first we may not have been able to get the flavors right off the bat, but as the temperature warms up on the beer, and I think that's what it is. It's kind of warming up. The flavors come through, and you can taste them all very distinctly. And I think what's very unique is that one flavor or the other is not overpowering the other ones. They all seem to be in a very good balance. So my point to what I'm trying to say is, we've tried a few hundred different craft beers, right?
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
And that's, I think, what our point we always come back to is don't be afraid of flavor, but don't try to put too many flavors together. And the flavors you're going to put in there, make them stand out so they're good. Yep. And I think, so that the reason I come to my point is I think I'm going to give it a 4.62. And I would have rated it even a little bit higher. But like you said, Mike, I think that trying that bourbon up front, now I was kind of expecting that from the beer. Not that it's a knock, not that it tastes bad, but that's the first time we've ever done that, and hopefully not the last.
Right.
I hope we can do it again. I've got a few other ones if we had to, but my reason I would have actually probably went 4.7, 4.8 if I would have had a little bit more bourbon flavor.
Yep, I agree.
Not knocking it whatsoever, but that's right.
Yep, no, I agree 100% with you. Like I said, that's the only thing. And I think when you're sitting here, you can kind of get the aftertaste a little bit of the bourbon in it, but it's the upfront is more that port wine,
right?
To me. So yeah, it still would. If somebody goes, "Hey, you want one of these?" Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
So. Yeah, and again, remember it's 15.5%.
Right.
Yeah,
it drinks very smooth.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and the other reason why I wanted to do the bourbon and this one was as we kind of talk about 2024, some of our best beers from 2024 are also Bourbon County. But I think what we should probably do, Mike, is maybe talk about like some of our trips or some of our breweries. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Now, maybe, Toby, you can throw some interjection in here, too, because I think we tried to bring some of these beers back with us.
Some of them we did, but there's other ones that we didn't. But,
right. So what do you think was, like, for 2024 for trips? I mean, what do you think was...
Well, one of the trips that I thought was really enjoyable, because I didn't realize they had quite as many breweries, was down in the Des Moines area. When we went down there.
Yep.
And they were pretty surprising, really. I mean, there was a number of them. I had on my list for kind of surprising breweries. Mm-hmm. The first one that I had down that I was totally shocked by, because typically, this is back, now remember, Toby, when Jim didn't like sours at all. Mm-hmm. And we went to Barntown Brewing.
BTB.
Kind of, not by mistake, but the place we were going to go to had already closed, remember? And then for the evening, so then we found the other place, Barntown was not that far from where we were going to go, so we stopped there, they were open. That place was surprising.
Right.
I thought the sours, they weren't sour, they were very sweet.
Sweet.
But they had some of the most creative flavors, I thought.
And they taste exactly like what the title said.
Yeah.
And it was, I thought, not to cut you off, but I thought the other part, talk to the bartender and the brewmaster, was their whole comment that, sours are not necessarily tart. They can be sweet too, and I didn't understand that aspect, and they were focusing in on the sweet part. And I was like, and I think what was really maybe a step back was that all of the women that don't like craft beers with us all liked every single one of the beers we tried there.
Yeah. Because when we were at the brew, all we tried was their sours.
Right.
Because that's what they had on tap. And then we bought some cans and bottles to do an actual podcast on, remember?
Yep.
But the sours were just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, okay, yeah. And
I second
totally changed my outlook, so to speak, on most sours. I mean, they did fall into that, and I've said it for a long time, that most sours aren't sour anymore, you know? And I'm not upset with that in any way, shape, or form, but these guys, just the flavors that they had was really amazing.
I'll second that 100%. You hit the nail right on the head for that.
Yes, I think Barntown was my most surprising brewery that we went to overall.
Oh, well, I would say...
But we had another one there.
Yeah, I would say that one was up there. I don't know if it would be my most surprising.
But I was going to say, we had another one that we stopped in. It was in Des Moines as well, and that was Confluence.
Yes.
And that blew me away for a few different reasons. One was they had, 34 beers on tap, and it was all their own beer.
Right.
They didn't have any guest taps, anything like that.
Now, just one point of clarification, they did buy Lark Brewing's recipes.
Yes, because they had a couple.
Yep,
a couple of them that we had.
The Chong or Chonga or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, yes, whatever that one was. But then the thing that was also cool was that they had, was it 8?
Yeah.
8 of their own beers on tap that were barrel aged.
Yes.
And so when we saw that, we did our podcast on trying their barrel aged beers, and they
and I don't think, have we ever been to any brewery ever
where we had enough to do an 8 beer? No,
barrel aged podcast.
Right. No,
I think that's the only one.
That's the only one we've ever done so far.
Right.
I mean, there's other places that I know of that we could do one. We just got to get there.
Right.
But
now, for me, I thought that's what kind of put them to the number one level for me was not only, the tap room wasn't anything.
It was nice. It was okay.
But the beers that they had on tap and the different flavors, gin barrel, tequila, mezcal, stouts, Russian. I
think did they have rum barrel as well? I don't remember. I'm trying to.
I wrote down the names of the beers. I don't remember what was in the.
Right.
But you're right. I think they could have had one that was. But they were all. Yeah, I was like. I said, if I ever go to Des Moines again, that's the number one place I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
Because it was that good.
It was. And it was kind of out by itself. Kind of. It was very unassuming building. Remember, you when you drove by, or when we were pulling up there, I should say, you really didn't know, but there's like a sign over the door to go in, it said brewery or something, Confluence Brewing. And it was good. But like I said, when I said that Barntown was probably my most surprising one, it was just because it was more sour based.
Oh, yes.
Confluence is way up there for my brewery of the year, because it was just unbelievable the amount of beers they had, and that they had 8 of their own barrel aged beers on tap. So that was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% second. I mean, no doubt. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had some other places on that trip. We went to Big Grove. We went to, what else did we go to, Jim? Exile.
Yep.
Remember, that was decent. We went to, was it Lua?
Yep.
And that one, we've talked about it a couple times on here where I think they do a lot of brewing for the masses, so to speak, where they don't have a huge amount of flavor. And there's a few other ones that had like that too.
Mike, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We're doing a lot of talking.
Yeah.
But my glass is empty.
Yeah, well, that sucks to be you. Yeah, me too, actually. We could do something.
Could we change that and see if there's anything?
Yeah.
I know that we brought some heavy duty ones to start off, but I think you had some other ones that you wanted to incorporate into what we're talking about.
As far as the beers we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since this is barrel-aged January, we had some people...
Is that self-proclaimed?
No, I think it's out there.
It's a national holiday.
Some people
Did you
have...
get an email on that?
Yeah. Some people have dry January. We have barrel-aged January. And it may be February. Who knows? We have to wait and see.
I might be a poster child.
See, there you go. I did bring 3 other beers with. I do apologize, Jim. I sent him 4 pictures, and I said, here's another one we can try later. And anyway.
I thought that was your number one beer that when you left. I was like, oh.
It would have been.
Yeah.
I will say that. But these 3 that I got here are they're barrel aged, but we didn't really have enough of any other ones to match these to do a podcast. So I thought, why not just throw them?
So they're kind of
together.
3 very distinct and unique ones that don't. that don't match in with much.
Toby, which one do you want to start with?
Do you want to do the lowest ABV first?
That's
which one is that?
at. So
I think is that Roadsmary.
We're going to start with Roadsmary Baby. It's a pumpkin ale brewed with spices and aged in rum barrels with vanilla beans.
There you go.
All right. Well, it sounds interesting.
Let me see what it sounds like.
Oh, sounds like a beer. It's 6.8% ABV. Did we have? Okay, they did have a little write up. Roadsmary's Baby.
Yeah,
is a scary good pumpkin ale with a 2-road spin. It's aged in rum barrels for added complexity and depth of flavor. The result is a smooth drinking ale with notes of pumpkin, spices, vanilla, oak, and a touch of rum.
A touch.
So I don't know about you guys, but
It's dark for color.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty dark.
even before the fall, pumpkin beers really hit the scene this year.
Hard, yes.
There was a lot of them out there, and there were some ones that I thought were decent. Very drinkable. Nothing over the top. Again, you read the cans, and it's got all these spices in it. It's got this, that, but you never tasted it.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see the twist with the pumpkin here in a rum barrel, because I don't think I've had one of those this fall.
So
what's interesting is that we actually have a rum connoisseur in our presence.
Ooh.
Me.
Oh, well, I was trying to give you some kudos.
Yeah, me.
So
rum is typically my spirit of choice.
Right. So if there's anybody that can taste rum and know the flavor it is, it's going to be Mike.
I should be able to, but like I said, we've talked about it a little bit on some other podcasts where some of them are either super strong rum flavor or you can't hardly taste it. So it'll be interesting to see what this is.
Right. So this is a little break from what we're talking 2024.
Yep.
But we're just trying to add new beers into the 20. So it's just kind of a compilation, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay. So it helps our thinkers.
Yes, our thinkers are better.
Well, I can smell pumpkin spice. Yeah,
you can taste some pumpkin, not over the top, but
I can't. Yeah, I don't taste rum at all.
No.
I thought I did, and then
I do get
it was like so fleeting. It just went away right away.
I get more pumpkin, and then some like pumpkin spice and vanilla. I get that, but I don't taste the rum at all.
I mean, they said it was just going to be a hint of rum or a touch of rum. Mm-hmm. It's definitely just a touch. There's not. Yeah. You're not going to get scared away by the rum flavor.
No.
And I'm not a big rum guy, so I can definitely. There's a finish of rum in there. It is just a touch.
You're right. I think it's at the very end, and it's very fleeting.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's weird too, I don't know if it's weird, but when you say that the ABV is 6.8%, and usually, the barrel-aged beers that we try, anytime that you have barrel aging, it's going to be double-digit. And this is, a rum barrel-aged, and it's one of the lower ABV beers that we've had. I don't know if we've had a barrel-aged beer this low.
Right.
So that's, I thought, was unique. I mean, I'm like, but again, I like the concept of aging it in rum. So I think let it sit in that barrel a little bit longer, maybe. Let it age a little bit. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. I think they got a good base for their pumpkin, but I think that little bit of rum might have gave it just a little bit more that it needed. Maybe I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think the vanilla beans probably take away from that rum,
right?
Because again, not being a rum guy, usually rum just jumps out at me and I can taste it, but this is just it's kind of a smoother,
right? Oh, for sure,
finish, and it's there a little bit. This is
it's different. I mean, it's
so, they say this is a Two Roads, and Two Roads is Two Roads Brewing Company from Stratford, Connecticut.
Okay, I was wondering where they're out of.
Yeah. So, Mike, you're first. What are you thinking?
Boy, I was hoping for more.
Yes.
I'm gonna let's say straight pumpkin beer is not bad. It could use a little bit more, even pumpkin spice, but I think the vanilla might knock it down a little bit, and then you do maybe have that little hint of rum on the end. But I'm gonna go like a 2.7, I guess.
Oh, you're not a big fan?
I'm not a big fan of it. I think it had super huge potential, and it just kind of fell a little short.
I knew you were gonna go low. I didn't know how low. Mm-hmm. Toby, you want to go next?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm kind of in the same spot that, the more I drink of it here, the more I just feel like you could just drink it, just like you're drinking a normal Miller Lite or Bud Light type of beer.
Right.
So there's not a lot there. I'm below Mike. I'm on a 2.5.
Wow. You guys are making me rethink my my number.
Were you going like a 4.9 or what were you?
No. I thought it was initially I thought it was in the 3s.
Oh.
But the more you guys talk and the more I'm, taking little sips, trying to like get as much of the flavor as I can. Yeah. And I think we kind of talk about it sometimes, Mike, during our fall podcast about how difficult it is to make a pumpkin beer. It's not a squash beer, and we still don't know what Heather tastes like. But I thought this was a good attempt at it. Mm-hmm. And I think that putting it in a rum barrel was something I hadn't expected. So I'm trying to give them all the benefit of the doubt. And I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was just by the amount of different things that they're trying to combine together for a pumpkin. I was thinking like a 3.5, but you guys talked me down to a 3.0. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, you could stick with your original score.
Well, no, I want to fit in with you guys. I don't want to get kicked out. On the recap, and all of a sudden now you're down a man short. So, But this does roll into what another part of 2024 that I thought was interesting. We're talking about pumpkin beers that are aged in rum barrels. I don't think we've had before, have we?
I don't think so.
But the thing for 2024 that I thought was interesting is that the Marzans are now being barrel aged.
Yes.
So I think what's the word? Like the unique thing for 2024. Is the brewers are now starting to barrel age their Marzans. And we had the Founders Ultimate.
We had a couple.
Right. The Founders Ultimate Oktoberfest.
Yeah. For
both you and I was in the 4 range.
Oh yeah, that was up there for our beer of the year as well.
Yes. So it was up there. I mean, and the reason why I'm saying it now is because it wasn't up there in the very running. But to me, it was good that the brewers are out there expanding what they can do.
Yep.
And Founders, in my opinion, hit one out of the park with that ultimate. I mean, I really like that one. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, I don't think we've had a Marzan or a pumpkin beer, any of those fall beers that have been in the 4 range. That was the one and only 4.0 beer that we've ever had for Marzan.
Yeah, because
I don't want to cut you off, but I thought that's interesting.
We also had the roll out the barrel from Three Sheeps.
Yes. Yep.
The only knock I had on that one was if you would have not told me what it was and you put it in the glass, I never would have even thought it was a Marzan.
Right.
Because all you could taste was the barrel.
Right.
You remember? I mean,
yes.
It was super strong, and that one was way up there for ABV as well.
Yes.
If I remember right. But it was one of those where one...
The hard part, not to cut you off, but I looked back at our scores.
Yep.
So Mr. Toby rated that Three Sheeps the highest at a 4.1.
Okay.
I had a 4.0 and you had a 3.9.
Yeah.
For the Three Sheeps. So.
Right. Because, and if I remember right, my argument was I can't taste the Marzan.
Right. You're right.
With the Founders, you could taste that it was a Oktoberfest Marzan.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny that you brought that in. And like I said, it is interesting because the other 2 beers I brought are kind of in that where it's different styles of beer that all of a sudden showed up barrel aged.
Right.
Because before it was always barrel aged stouts.
Yes.
You know, and now they're getting into these other things. Like you said, Marzans, is the one that shocked us this year. Well, we just happen to have another can of a different Marzahn.
Yes, we do.
And, Toby has the word that's bigger than Marzahn is barrel aged on the can, and it's a pint can, so you're pot committed when you open that bad boy. So
Toby, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know I kind of just throwing you in here. What do you think of that Ultimate Oktoberfest that we tried? I think, or even the Three Sheeps one.
Yeah, I thought they were very good.
Because I know you like Marzahns.
Yep, yeah, and Mike's right. When you expect a certain flavor and it's there or not there, but then you throw in the bourbon to it. Is that good or bad? Does it take away from that?
Right.
So it does kind of compound, based off of how you've always rated. But boy, when it's a good combination, it's just it's good. So, I like the fact that they're exploring things like that, and I'll be excited to try the couple that we have in front of us here.
Okay.
So, do you want to do another beer before we do the beer of the year talk about?
We can if you want.
Sure. So what do we got next for ABV wise?
Do you want to do?
It looks like the Mobcraft.
Or do you want to? Oh yeah. That's right.
Or do you want to go by the Marzahn?
Well, let's do the Mobcraft first.
Okay.
We'll get because we're again going by ABV. So.
All right.
So is this one, Mike? You got some words on that one?
Yeah, let me find my. This is their Barrel Berry from Mobcraft, 7.2% ABV.
Nice, a little bit higher,
and it's a Belgian-style mixed culture beer aged in bourbon barrels with blueberries. So I don't know. Does that mean it's a sour or it's? What does that mean, Toby? A mixed culture beer. What is that?
Is that the one you said was going to be the sour?
Yeah.
You said
I thought it was a sour. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Mobcraft's theme is that we turn our ideas into beers. And if you've ever been to the brewery, you can walk through and they've got plaques on the walls of people and
Jim's holding his hand up like it's...
Oh, you want beer before I keep talking.
No, I was just going to change your verbs to past tense.
Oh, yes. They are no more.
That's true.
They
had a very good idea. I don't know why they went out of business, but
you'd think that the most popular podcast guy would have had the funds to purchase the place.
The most popular co-host should have purchased it in a heartbeat. Yes.
See, it's almost like the assistant coach.
That's
that's
a different color.
That's different color.
I guess that's the berry coming out.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we've had many barrel-aged beers that are purple.
I can smell it.
That's got to be the blueberry.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, have we had many barrel-aged purple beers?
No.
Don't change your hair color either, buddy.
That's the whole reason I got it is because it's like, okay, it's a barrel-aged.
It's a Belgian style.
Yeah, Belgian style mixed culture beer, which I still think it's a sour.
Did you smell it?
Is. I have not yet.
Oh, just wait.
That smells like it's right in your wheelhouse.
No, it does not.
It smells good.
No, it does not.
And this is one of those labels that's a cool label. Got a beetle, a car.
Yeah.
On the front.
It's got kind
not
of
the blue beetle.
Kind of that hippie vibe. To, very psychedelic kind of artwork on it.
Right, but doesn't really lend itself to know what it is. But I'm guessing by Jim's reaction.
You and I are gonna want to be quiet on this and see what he has to say. Go ahead, Jim.
Wow, this
take a sip.
This does not smell good. I'm just saying, I have not taken a sip, but it does not smell. It smells sour. So unless they can have a Houdini act in there to change the flavor, this is gonna.
Why don't you give her a whirl?
Oh God!
I knew that was coming because I'm sitting there going,
"Wow!"
So it is a sour.
Yeah, it's sour.
It's definitely a sour.
Oh, it's a tart sour too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't taste any bourbon barrel in there at all.
It could not hurt it.
No.
We did.
Hey, brewers out there, this is just my amateur opinion, but I don't know if I'd put sours in a bourbon barrel. I don't think it really did much to improve it.
And what does the Belgian style culture mean?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
I had mentioned before that I'd had another beer that was aged in a port barrel, and it kind of had this kind of bite sour to it. Again, I'm not a wine drinker, nothing against it, but it just kind of had that bite, and that's how I feel about this. There's definitely...
all I can do is go, huh.
Well, what's weird is like my mouth is like super dry now.
Yeah.
Like it was something, I don't know if it's the tart or what, but it's like just making my mouth.
Right, that to me reminds me of like that port barrel stuff,
But it wasn't like this.
No, that was good.
This port wine was super good. This is woo.
Yeah, I said, I don't taste any barrel in there at all.
There's a little bit of a blueberry finish.
I get some blueberry, but I don't taste a bourbon barrel at all.
No.
That's what I'm just kind of freaked out about a little bit.
So is this
It's
the
like-
Belgian style that we're tasting?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think this just not very, you know.
The smell was not overcome by the taste.
like,
It was
like
just,
you said, Jim, we have to talk kind of in the past tense. And you and I went there, and you know, we had a great lunch, great food, had some beers we enjoyed, bought some beers. But if this is what they're making,
You kind of
unfortunately, I can see why they might have closed their doors.
oh boy.
It was a neat concept. I mean, this beer was, I think it is a neat concept.
Never seen it before.
But Jim, would you like to start with the scoring?
All right. Well, I'm gonna
You want some more first?
Yeah, 1.0. I can't say anything good.
Well, it's not. He doesn't think it's terrible. He gave it a 1.0.
He gave it a 1.0, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't. I just have to drop the mic and walk away.
Okay. Toby, what do you think?
And just remember your other scores so you don't double up.
That's not a problem.
Oh,
I'm not even going to
Oh yeah, what are my scores so I don't?
double
You know.
your current score that you
hold
did
on.
this
I just
week.
wanted to remind you, just in case you were thinking of rating it really.
Oh, that was funny right there.
Yeah, I just you mentioned it, Jim. Just how dry my mouth is when I drink this. It's hard. I'll go 1.2.
Wow, I guess I started something.
Yeah, this is not good. Like I said, I don't taste. This is the ultimate. If it's on the can, it should be in the can. And I'm going to go 1.0 as well.
Really? This might be one of the lowest ones I've ever heard you say, Mike. I don't think I've ever.
Oh no, we've had some other ones. That
No,
are lower.
with me on the podcast.
Right.
This
Yeah,
is
I left you 1.1 open. So
I did. I know. And I thought about it. I was going to split the difference.
Just
but
couldn't do it, huh?
I just couldn't do it. Yeah, that's just wow. I do give Jim credit. He did finish his glass.
I'm going to give you what I think I'm drinking right now.
What's that?
I know it says a Belgian style bourbon barrel with blueberries, right?
Yep.
I feel like I'm drinking a glass of grapefruit juice.
Kind of. It's just
I
not.
wouldn't even go.
It's not a beer.
I think I might be able to drink
Not very
grapefruit juice. This
good.
might be toilet water.
Yeah, it's not.
This might be the stuff coming out the bottom of your tank in your camper.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's on that note. Yeah, that was not that good. I'm sorry, Mobcraft.
Why don't you guys talk about a good beer?
All right, let's get back to
All right. So ultimately, the reason why we're having today's podcast is why, Mike?
Because we wanted to look back at like the beers that we tried last year.
Yep.
And name a beer of the year. So
before we do that, though, we should probably do our top 4 for the year, and then maybe a consensus come up with the beer of the year, or do we want individual beer?
well, I mean, we can.
What do you think?
I think.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways to skin a cat.
I say I know what my pick was. So I don't know if you had a different one.
Yes, I think. Well, there's only one that we all had the same. Even Toby was part of that one.
Right.
I mean, that we're all
That's
on the same.
Right. So, but I do like to kind of mention a few others that were in the running.
So how we each just go around the table, say maybe our top 2 or 3 beers for the year, and then we'll talk about what our best one was. How's that?
Okay, so the ones that are honorable mentions.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess, do you want to start, Jim?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I will have to say that I think I learned my lesson, because as I was trying to get ready for today, I realized that we didn't write down what our scores were. So I ended up having to listen to a lot of our previous podcasts, which was interesting.
You finally listened to the podcast.
No, a second time or the third time.
Yeah.
So it was just good to hear us all talking, and once you hear it the second time, you're like, good, because sometimes we only have the title of the beer,
Right. Yes.
not what we were thinking about why it tasted good.
Yep.
That was the reason why I'd like to listen to what we thought about some of these beers.
Yep.
So in no particular order, I'll say my top.
Your top.
I'll give my top.
Mentions.
I'll give you top 5 beers that I thought for 2024.
Okay.
And these are not in any order. So Adventurous Brewing had Absurd Vanilla. That was a 14% from Bettendorf, Iowa.
Yep. That was
an Imperial Stout, aged 14 months in bourbon barrels with vanilla beans.
Yep.
And the vanilla on that was something that I'd never tasted before. It was like so good. That was up there. My second one was from New Realm, Wooded Reserve, Bourbon Barrel Aged Osaka Mexican Chocolate Stout. For a chocolate stout, that was probably the best chocolate stout I've ever had in my life. That was 12.6% ABV. And just as a side note, our companion and sometime guest host Ron actually gave it a 5.0.
Yeah.
And it's the only time on our podcast, Mike, that anyone's
ever had a
5.0. So I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
My next one was from Central Waters, the 26 aged in J. Henry bourbon barrels. That was super smooth. That was aged 33 months, and those super smooth. I thought that was like right up there. And then my last two were from Bourbon County, and they both came in a silo. And I was just actually looking at the silos today, and I was like, oh, look. One of the beer that we had today was in a plastic container or a cardboard container, but these were in silos. Yep. And one of those was the 15.6% Bourbon County Reserve 150 from 2021. And then the other one was the Bourbon County Double Barrel Toasted Barrel Stout, which was a 16%, and that was aged in Elijah Craig barrels.
Yep.
So those are my top 5 for the year.
So I think some of mine are the same as what you had said. I thought that Absurd Vanilla from Adventures Brewing was very good.
Okay. Yep.
Had just the vanilla flavor was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, another one that the New Realm Wooded Reserve. That's actually one that I brought back from Atlanta.
Yep.
When I was down there, that was very good, very surprising on how that tasted.
And we did learn how to speak Spanish to go Osaka.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to say
that. Or however we did that. We should have tried.
Way more vowels in that word.
Yeah, we didn't know if you had to pronounce them all or none of them or how that worked. We couldn't remember. And then another one for me was the Ultimate Oktoberfest from Founders. Like I said, for an Oktoberfest, that was the best Oktoberfest I think I've ever had. And barrel aged. Totally just blew me away.
Yes.
You know, for that style.
Yes. I didn't mention that one, but I'm 100% on board with you.
Yeah. The two Goose Island ones were extremely good. And then really, I really did like, because remember this last year we did the 2021 Goose Island, which we will be having 2022s coming up here this year.
Yep.
But, again, I just think that confluence. Really, some of their stuff really was good. You know, it really kind of shocked me, especially being at a brewery, having that many barrel aged. From them, a couple of them I'd point out was their Ferryman's Chocolate Macadamia Nut Russian Imperial Stout. That was really good. Mm-hmm. And really their Blueberry Vanilla Russian Imperial Stout. So they were both Ferryman's.
And just to make sure you make a side note, this was blueberry.
Yes, but those ones were better.
So the one we had today was not as good as...
No. So that was like 5 of the beers that I really had kind of in my running. I'm trying to remember a couple other ones that I thought were good was the Untitled Arts, the ice cream waffle.
Yep.
That one I thought was very good.
Yep.
Then we had the Great Lakes, the cookie exchange that we had on the Christmas episode. That one was pretty surprising to me as well. And I'm trying to look back on my notes here. I think that was pretty well kind of covered everything I had. Yeah.
So Toby, I know we're putting you on the spot, and I know that I've been to your house. I know that you have a lot of different barrel-aged beers too, and you probably didn't write down a lot of the notes like we did. But do you want to throw some out too that you thought were some great beers from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The list that you guys put together here, I definitely agree with what you've said because I've had some of those. We've talked about it, beyond the podcast and shared some of those. The Bourbon County stuff, the Goose Island stuff, those are always good. And I think this is the one that comes in the silver silo, but it was the Eagle Rare. Bourbon County one. Yeah. That I think was probably my favorite that I had last year.
Yes.
To me that was just a great tasting beer. You could get that bourbon flavor out of it. So that's probably my top pick for the year for me. Okay. Which you guys didn't do on a podcast, or I don't know if we've ever rated that together.
Yeah, I don't think we've had that one yet.
Well, I think we may have. Maybe one of our other friends may have had one.
But I mean, I don't think we had it on podcast. But we tasted it.
So I think before we
announce our
beer of the year, I think we should. Yeah,
we got one more.
Yep.
Barrel aged beer that I had brought with, and this just happens to be a barrel aged Oktoberfest.
Well, that's right.
This is the third one this year that we did. Toby, that's one of the things this year that really shocked me was the number. Like you had talked about pumpkin beers, but this year I couldn't believe the number of Oktoberfests because we had 3 episodes,
and we started in August.
Yeah, because it's our Augusttoberfest.
Ah.
You know, and
So we started earlier.
and we had 3. At least I think it was 3 full episodes of Oktoberfest.
And it just seemed like...
And it kept... You'd go to the store and you'd text me, hey, I found some more. It's like, no, we're done with Oktoberfest for now.
Because there was other ones that I didn't even buy that were sitting out there. So we hopefully have enough for episode next year.
Yeah. So this one is from Millstream Brewing.
Yep. And I didn't find a lot on this.
No, it's 9% ABV. And so this should be interesting.
So I don't know what kind of barrel...
The Founders, was that around 9% too, wasn't it?
Let's
or was
see.
that 10...
9.4.
9.4, okay.
Yep.
So this is right in that
same range.
Ballpark.
But I couldn't find what kind of barrel it was in.
It's definitely a little bit darker than your normal Oktoberfest in color.
And I think before, too, like the Ultimate Oktoberfest, they had their Oktoberfest and their Ultimate side by side, and you could try both those. And I think we did on one of those, but I don't know what their base Marzahn tastes like.
This is one of the few Millstream beers I've ever seen myself. And I believe I bought it when we were up in the cities.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't have much for aroma.
I get a little bit of a barrel smell.
Mm-hmm. Not overpowering, though.
No, I can taste the barrel.
No, there's bourbon.
There's bourbon in it.
To me, it's tasty.
It's not bad. It's actually not.
There's no burn.
I hate to say it, Jim. So of the 3 barrel-aged Oktoberfest that we had this year, we had the Roll Out the Barrel, which in no way, shape, or form could I even recognize it was an Oktoberfest.
Right.
And then we had the Ultimate Oktoberfest, which
had a good balance.
Very good balance.
Yep.
This is up there too. It's not near as strong as, but this one, I taste the barrel. I get that bourbon taste,
and it has the Marzahn color.
The Marzahn color, you get a little bit of the Marzahn flavor, kind of at the end. Almost the aftertaste is more of the Marzahn than the other. You know, where the Roll Out the Barrel didn't even have that. But this is surprising.
I mean, I think the hard part to echo on to your points are that it's I think the barrel aging is very good, but I don't taste as much of the Marzahn.
Correct.
So I then flip side to say, do I only want to taste the Marzahn or do I want to taste more?
Right.
So for me, I like the barrel aging better, but there might be some people that are like only want that Marzahn flavor. You know, so. I guess that's where the trade-off comes in.
Yep.
For me.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a beer that, when you think of people that really like Marzahn beers, they might not like Bourbon Barrel as much, but I'd say, hey, give this one a try, because it's subtle, it's smooth. I was kind of happy that there was more of the bourbon flavor, kind of like you, Jim, that, versus just that Marzahn taste. So I think it's really good.
It surprised me.
Yeah.
It actually surprised
me. This is not bad. This is not, Mikey... after the first 2,
you hit your dumps.
You were really 3 strikes and you're out. But
I'll correct you.
Yeah.
The first was our Angel's Envy shot. The second was
those first 2 were kind of rough.
The first 2 were
the last 2
from Mike.
Number 3 and number 4 were questionable.
From Mike were very.
Number 4 was extremely questionable.
So he did bring up his game, which he very rarely does bring out his A's top shelf stuff around me.
Well, Toby, when you come over and I bring out the A-list stuff, then I don't waste it on...
Oh, so that's where the Pappy's at? You got to hit away for Toby?
I think the Pappy's gone, isn't it?
I don't... Well, I don't think... I think the case they sent us for free was... we still got some of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's why...
They sent us a barrel. You got it in your kegerator, too. Didn't we put that in there?
Oh!
We rigged his kegerator to have a barrel of Pappy in there.
Dang, that kind of hurts right in the side there. Well, then if you like it, so what are you thinking on a score then?
I'm going to go with 3.5.
Oh,
I think I do wish it had maybe a little bit more of the Marzahn, the Oktoberfest flavor to it, but I definitely get that bourbon flavor, but it's very, very mellow. It doesn't have a bite at all. Oh. I think anybody could drink it, and they wouldn't be like, Right. I think it's good. It surprised me. So I'm gonna say a 3.5.
Toby, what do you?
Yeah, I agree with what Mike just said. It's very good. I really like it. I was at a 3.7.
Wow,
Jim, what do you think?
Well, I guess my only points are because I do like the barrel. The barrel. I don't know what type of bourbon barrel it is.
Right. Yeah, we don't. It doesn't say on the can or anything.
I wish I could tell you exactly. I knew what it was. But it's good. But I don't taste much of the Marzahn. So I guess I'm going to go with 2.9. I mean, I wish I could taste a little bit more. I mean, it's not a lot more, but just a little bit more of the flavor.
Now, I don't know if this will change your vote, Jim, but this is from Amana, Iowa. And that's like a large Amish community.
Ah.
So this could be Amish beer.
Oh.
You don't know.
All right, well.
So this is probably brewed in Pappy barrels.
Mike, I wanted to point something out to you here.
Yes, sir.
On our scoring.
Uh-huh.
And it's the first time we've ever had this in a podcast.
Okay, what's
ever. That all of our scores started with a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4.
Huh.
In one podcast, we've never had that extreme of
to go from a 1 to a 4.5.
Right.
Yeah, that's usually we're within tenths of a point, not
Yes.
3.5 points.
Yes. So we've never had. So I thought that's pretty appropriate for a 2024 wrap up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To be able to have quite a spread like that.
Yep.
So then now we're is there a drum solo? Is there some type of
do some kind of drum roll?
Right. So
basically, Jim, since you and I were pretty much on the vast majority.
Yes. So here, if you want to read any of the stuff about it, and then we'll tell everybody which one it is after you read some of the deets on it.
Or you give me this with the micro print.
You want Toby to?
So while he's looking at that, I just want to go back to this.
I'll just read it off of here because
this barrel aged Oktoberfest,
Yeah.
Marzahn style. Technology is wonderful, so I kind of did some research and I went to the actual Millstream Brewery company, and it's not only aged in whiskey barrels but rye whiskey barrels.
Really? Huh? So that's weird. I don't get because typically your rye barrels have a little bit of a peppery type flavor to it, but I don't get that. But I do enjoy the flavor of it.
Right. So in all of the great malty crispness from the Oktoberfest is complemented with smooth whiskey notes and a peppery bite from the Cedar Ridge rye whiskey barrels.
Huh.
Interesting.
So a little bit
That's
rye
good.
whiskey,
Yeah.
changes things a little bit. I don't know if I've ever had a beer aged in a rye whiskey barrel.
Well, we've had, I think, Goose Island.
Yeah,
has
Goose
had
Island.
some.
Yeah.
Have they?
And maybe
Central Waters.
Distal, Dust Vidania.
Oh, okay.
We haven't had them yet. I've got.
All right.
I have
You're holding
2
out.
years yet. Well, I was going to find what I want to do because I think the next year of theirs that I have is probably 2022, maybe. And I think there's 7 or 8 different beers, so it'll be a big one. So Toby, if you're up for it, we'll need to have an accomplice for that one. But they do have a couple of them that are in rye barrels. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see how that is. So, all right. Well, hey, let me.
You want to read something about our beer of the year, and
I'm trying to see where I have to cut out.
Okay.
If it hasn't, I don't. Okay, I see where it has. All right. So here is, I'm going to cut out the name of the beer and the brewery.
Yep.
So this beer was aged for 1 year in Elijah Craig small batch bourbon barrels.
Nice.
Then another year in Elijah Craig toasted bourbon barrels.
Oh.
In addition to the familiar chocolate, caramel, and vanilla, comes flavors of toasted marshmallow and a very pronounced fruit and oak finish.
Nice.
This company's beer has a rich complexity and flavor only attainable through true craftsmanship, partnership, expert blending, and, of course, patience.
Nice.
And I think going back to last week, that's Dangerous Man didn't have the patience down yet. They had the other stuff, but not the patience. This company has had it. We've talked about it a number of times. So our 2024, he's holding up the bottle for Toby here. Our 2024 Beer of the Year for the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast is Goose Island Bourbon County Double Barrel Branded Toasted Barrel Stout. Came in at 16% ABV.
Yes, and what were our scores?
Let's see. Well, it was unanimous across the board. They're all 4.7.
Which is
the second highest.
That's way up there, right?
The second highest we've ever rated, right behind the Pappy Van Winkle from Central Waters.
Of any
beers we've ever rated.
And I mean that was delicious. I mean, unfortunately, they sell out so quick you can't.
Yeah, you have to be first in line usually to get them. I think, fortunately, I still have one of those in my basement.
Oh,
wow!
Yeah. Well, I could have brought it, but you never said anything about it.
I mean, that's kind of the point of this, right? I mean, we just
we're just looking back.
I get that.
We could have tried it again.
We could have.
But now I'm...
Oh.
Now you're upset with me, aren't you?
Well, you read all that. And
No, we have nothing to taste.
I apologize, guys.
Oh.
But maybe we'll bring it. Maybe I'll bring it to Between the Bluffs. So there you go. So I would say our first 2 years, we've had 2 pretty good beers, Jim, for the beer of the year.
Do you remember what we had for 2023?
Duh. Central Waters.
That was the Pappy?
Pappy Van Winkle. That's still the top-rated beer we've ever had.
All right.
And I still have 1 bottle of that that we're going to have to bring with because my brother and uncle and my dad have never tasted it, so we'll have to.
Really?
Yeah. So we got to let those guys taste it as well. So
we're throwing out some big names that are very successful in what they do. Can't argue with what they have. I recall back to some of the breweries, and it might be in the last year and a half or so, but I've just got to give a shout out to G5. I think they have some good stuff that we've had in the past. They're down in Beloit, and I'd like to explore a little bit more of what they have.
Yep.
I wish they would sell their barrel-aged stuff around here.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We see their IPA stuff,
yeah,
not their barrel-aged stuff. But yeah, I agree with you, Toby. And then, like I said, Jim, I really think a couple of beers that really surprised me this year was the Founders Ultimate Oktoberfest. Really shocked me for an Oktoberfest. And really that new realm, the Wooded Reserve Bourbon Barrel Aged, that Mexican chocolate was amazing.
Right.
I mean, it had the pepper, it had the chocolate,
Spices.
it had the barrel and all that. Yeah. Those ones were really that. And then as far as a crazy kind of an ABV, I shouldn't say crazy, it's 14%, but that absurd vanilla from Adventurous Brewing really shocked me. That was extremely good as well. So, yeah. So there we go. That's 2024.
So then what should the listeners tune into for next week?
Barrel. We got more barrel-aged stuff, I think.
We got some. Do we tell them what brewery we're going to be?
Tune back in.
Tune back in?
Tune back in.
Is it going to be good? I mean, should we invite Toby back, or should we check the email to see if I'm still the best?
Is Toby's invitation to come back, is that tied into you being the best co-host?
No, that might just be a Toby and I.
Oh, whoa.
if you're not.
All right, so I don't need to be here. Cool. All right. That'll work.
I just bring balance.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And ladies and gentlemen, if you saw us, he's kind of sitting in between us. So I got to go through Toby to get to Jim now, which is probably a good thing.
That's right. Sometimes it definitely is.
Well, awesome. Toby, thank you so much for coming in and trying some of these beers. Like I said, the one that Angel's Envy was very interesting. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm not sure if I've ever had that bourbon before. It was neat. I do think we're gonna have to try another one we should try. I can't remember. I think, did you say you had a J. Henry?
Oh, it's
because we had that one.
Yeah,
was it an episode or two ago? We had the Goose Island, the J. Henry one.
Central Waters.
I'm sorry, Central Waters.
And we got it sitting over there with the bourbon.
Oh, well, I jumped ahead.
All right. we could, if you want, should I go bust it out right now?
Well, let's come back next week and we'll
see what happens.
See what happens.
All right.
But like I said, that was really cool to try. It's a great idea, and it'll be interesting to see when we don't have another barrel involved.
Right.
Because I do think that port kind of covered up some of that. So anyway, that's kind of wraps up our 2024, everybody. And thank you for listening. And we're going to continue our Barrel Age January next week.
All right.
So make sure to tune in. Toby,
and see if Mike's invited and see if he's part of this.
Yes, let me know, Toby, if I need to come back next week or not. If you would, shoot me an email because I don't trust that other email person that emailed in about that award. I mean, I totally believe it, Jim.
I made no people though.
You might know people.
I got peeps.
Yeah. So Jim@gmail.com. You don't know who that.
I know a Jimmy. I don't know about a Jim.
Okay. All right. We're gonna check that out because I don't know. You don't have that email, do you?
No, I don't have.
Okay.
I don't even know what email is. I'm technologically challenged.
Awesome. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for trying these. Like I said, these beers that we brought today we didn't have enough of any of them to do a podcast on our own, so we just kind of threw them in because they're barrel aged, so it did fit January,
right?
And we kind of tied it into here. So thank you so much, Jim, for letting us try that Angel's Envy and then the Bourbon County that matched it. And we'll come back next week and we'll see what barrel aged stuff we got next week.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, hey, Everybody, thank you for listening. And like we always say, we hope your campfire is always warm.
And your beers are always cold.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. If you have a question, a comment, or a beer you'd like us to review, please feel free to send us a message at northwoodsbeerguy@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're on Untappd, look up Northwoods Beer Guy and send a friend request. Until next week, I hope all your campfires are warm and all your beer is cold.